Hi, I'm Adrian. I'm the collections officer here at the museum. This weekend we've decided to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Mega Drive. I have actually brought some of my Sega collection in for everyone to enjoy. I'm stood in front of my, it's often called the Tower of Power. That's really the Mega Drive 1, the Mega CD 1 and the 32X on top. Looks absolutely hideous combination. I much prefer the Mega Drive 2, Mega CD 2 and 32X combination. Years and years ago I had owned a Mega Drive and it was one of the Asian ones, so you bought them from Hong Kong. They looked quite like the Master System box with the Japanese logo, but they had a PAL power supply and a PAL video signal, so they were quite handy. Thousands of people bought them in before the Mega Drive was launched. And that's the one I had, but I actually got rid of that one to fund the purchase of a Super Nintendo and the first few games for it. But years later, I quite missed the Mega Drive in some ways. I didn't warm to it as much as I did the Super Nintendo, but years later it had a lot of the games that I realised I'd missed out on to start with. So I went out to the great people at Console Passion and I bought myself a fully modded setup here, so this will play games from any region. So in there right now we have got Shadow Squadron on the 32X, which is one of the finest space shooters ever. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And depending how I hold the reset button down, I can change the region setting. So at the moment it's on the American setting with the yellow lights. If I go to green light, it's Japanese. If it's red light, it's PAL. And it just allows me to play the entire library off of one machine. So it's a very, very nice setup. And I just cannot resist a little bit of a game of Shadow Squadron, which does have other names in other regions. And it does actually go to show what the 32X could do in the right hands. So it's all very, very smooth. I'm now going to take out a load of enemy fighters. So I'm racing towards them. And then there's some other great big alien machines here as well. So I'm going to pick on this guy. A nice asteroid field here. And I saw this game running in an import shop and I was just like, one of these days I will own that game. It took quite a while. I didn't own a Mega Drive again until the 2000s. And, oh, just got hit. Wow. Vicious. And then, yeah, what you basically do in this game is fly around, shoot the fighters, and then try and take out these great big, huge battleships. Oh, I'm getting shot to pieces here. I'm not normally as bad at this game. See it, taking a huge chunk off of it there. Sega marketed the 32X as an entirely new console. If they'd have added it as an add-on to the Mega Drive, it might have actually sold a bit better and got a bit better third-party support, which was its great failing. Oh, I'm getting shot to bits. I'm being too impatient. So yeah, this was a set now. I've had it for a good few years and do enjoy a lot of the later games that I did miss on the... But this was actually not the first Mega Drive I bought back. I can't remember when it was. I think it was the early 1990s. I was in... oh no, it must have been quite a bit later. Mid-1990s, I would say. And I walked into St Neots Dixon's. And when Dixon's used to be on the high street. And they had this wonderful little machine here for sale for the grand total of £89.99p. And then you got a free Mega CD game with it and a couple of cartridges. So of course I bought myself Sonic the Hedgehog and I can't remember what else, but I got the arcade CD with it, which is Streets of Rage, Columns, Super Monaco Grand Prix and Golden Axe. It's a great set of games. So this is basically a very teeny tiny Mega Drive and Mega CD, but it's basically a PAL machine, staunchly PAL, so a lot of the games are in the squashed widescreen format. And also something always chunters along the bottom of the screen here. It was also billed as a portable CD player. It's a portable CD player as long as you don't like listening to loads of video noise through the headphones, because that's what you tend to get no matter what, whether you're just playing a CD. So yeah, we're playing Time Gal here, which is what we've far too often got with the Mega CD, was just literally loads of FMV type games. Literally just press controller up, controller down, something like that. And the experience lasts about 30 minutes, I think. So not terribly impressive. So we're going back to 1987 now. And we've got a familiar looking machine to anyone from the UK. So this is the Master System, but it's a Master System with a slight difference. So this is, you can see it puts up on the screen, Sega Mark III. I have actually got a Sega Mark III somewhere here. But this is basically the Japanese Master System. So it takes the totally different shaped carts, and it also takes the little cards in the front, which I haven't got any about at the moment. But it also, unlike the European one, it has the FM sound chip in it. So basically it puts out some really quite funky music in some of the games, of which I believe this is one, which is Fantasy Zone. See Sega Mark III there. And it is very, very similar to another machine I purchased at some point, the Sega Mark III. Let's have a look inside this box. So I don't get this one out very often because it's lovely and pristine, but it's a very sleek looking version of this. It's essentially the same machine as a Master System, but it doesn't have the FM chip in it. So you bought this big ugly unit that sticks on the top, and then you take this port off and plug the FM unit into the bottom of that unit. The controllers fit on the side, which is quite neat. And it was a beautiful machine. I was going to have it out for people to play on, but it's very, very similar to the Master System. And it's also very pretty and rarely used, so it just lives in its box at home. I have played it at home recently, so no real need to have it out here. What else can we say about the Master System? Well, not a lot really. So it didn't do very well in Japan at all. Didn't do an awful lot of business in America either. But in the UK, completely untapped console market. Sega really did well here. Marketed it as a younger person's console. There wasn't much competition. We were all using our little home micros, like we've got over there, our Spectrums, Commodores. Some people even had those Amstrad things. Joking, they're a fine machine. And we didn't really see why we should be paying like 20 to 30 pounds for a cartridge when we could have a very, very good experience on our micros. But these did start to really take off around about 88, 89. I'm going to actually try and play Fantasy Island. Very, very pretty. And of course, instant loading and all the rest of it became quite important. Oh, I died very cheaply and quickly there. Wow. So, yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, I kind of completely, awfully suck at this game.
Do you not normally play this one that badly either?
No, I don't normally play this. I got this game over from Japan relatively recently, and I had to clean the cart today because it was absolutely filthy and wouldn't play. But the bosses at Sega, one of the bosses did not like these great big cartridges. He thought they looked like tombstones. So he ordered that they become much thinner little cars like NEC were using, like the piece, and they can go in the front here. We're going to go back in time a little bit further now, 1983/84 now, to one of the few computers that Sega produced. Took me a long time to find one of these in any kind of working condition, but this is the SC3000. So I presume Sega Computer 3000. Essentially, it's a SG1000 in computer form. So if you take the cartridge out, it does nothing. You need to buy a basic cartridge so you can do tape loading and programming on it. Otherwise, it's pretty much a SG-1000, which the consoles we're going to meet in a minute. And it's got this lovely little chiclet keyboard. They did do one with a much, much better keyboard. And it takes the SG-1000 cards, cuts all the way in the side there. And it did do the old arcade games pretty well. I think someone might correct me here. When you bought this machine, you actually had to buy the joypads separately because you didn't get them with the computer pack. So there's certainly no room for them in the box there. So it was a computer you could play your arcade games on as well. There's its lovely box up there. You try and buy one of these in the UK, they go for absolutely ridiculous money, especially the ones with the proper keyboards. But this one I brought over from Japan for far, far less than the many hundreds of pounds that you will find them for on eBay UK. So, yeah, plays the entire SG-1000 library and has the typical Texas Instruments graphics because that's the chip used in all these machines here. So that's the computerized version. We're now going to look at the SG-1000 Mark II. So yes, they had the Mark I, the Mark II, and the Mark III over there, then the Master System. So this is a complete redesign of the early machine. Should we talk about these machines together? So here's the original one. It's the SG-1000. It's not quite the original one. They also did one with a black stripe, which you can see on this box here. So it looked like the German flag, so they replaced it quite quickly with this blue monocred one here. So it's a complete redesign. They start using these much, much better joypads here. They're still not great, but they're better than what this thing's got attached to it. Now also, this is an NTSC-J machine, so it's an RF out, normal aerial out. So we have to use this lovely little box here to produce the picture. So the RF signal comes into this box and then it outputs to composite, mono composite there. So, and it's a pretty good picture, so we can actually tune the RF in and have a composite out, which actually makes these machines quite easy to use. A nice little Sony cable box. So yeah, I think most American TVs up until certainly in the 1990s. Wow, I lost a long time there, didn't I? Still had RF and it needed to be converted so they could use their much more sophisticated cable boxes. So yeah, next to the Nintendo Entertainment System, it all looks a little bit basic. But you did get some reasonably nice conversions from their Sega's own arcades, which we've also got over there. We've got a Sega arcade machine over there, which you can select your own game on. I actually haven't died for a while. This is great. And there we go. Oh, I could play this all day, but I'm going to stop and immediately die. Which leads us to, yes, we're going to actually now play a game. So this is actually pretty close to the arcade original, which people might shoot me for that, but I love this as well. Because of its lack of buttons on the joypad, it just scrolls around the level. Select. So you have to wait for it and then go, right, 1. Yeah. And I do like Monaco Grand Prix. It's quite nippy. Someone's turned this out. Oh no, this TV's got a fault, hasn't it? So you can actually jump over the cars like that. Very realistic, just like a Formula 1 car neck can now. Then we go on to a slippery, icy surface there. This machine has been modded for composite. So it would have been RF originally, but somebody has, yes, modded it. So we can use it on relatively modern TV. This joypad though, it doesn't even divide opinion. It is fairly horrible. It feels stiff and unwieldy, and it's built into the console as well, so it's not it's not that easy for certainly a novice person to remove. You have to take this out, get hold of a Master System joypad, and literally wire it into a Molex connector inside, so that you can actually be able to play these games relatively easily. So here's one of our Dreamcast machines. I do like the Dreamcast an awful lot. Joypad here, goodness knows why they put the cable here. Well, I do know actually. But yes, it's got these little memory cards that also have little graphics on them, and you can download games onto it. And yeah, the cable can't come out the front because it's got all kinds of in fact, I think you can do that with it, so that it does actually come out the front. I've just remembered that. Can actually clip the joy, put it on there. And then, yeah, we've got Crazy Taxi on here.
All right, let's go make some crazy money.
Sega by this time, though, but 1998, they were relying on their arcade heritage just a bit too much. Well, I'll pick Axel, why not? It's
Hey, it's about to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go.
okay, so let's go pick up a fare.
You're okay. Get in it.
I nearly ran her over. Right, and then just wants to go do the cable car, so off we go. Race down the road. I don't know why I'm not using the analog stick. Here we go. Let's down here and then slam the brakes on. Oh, she's not getting out. Come on. Oh, I've got to be inside the circle, haven't I? Oh, there'll be people watching that going, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so yeah, we've gone a little bit modern there. Our Saturn decided it didn't want to work, so we haven't got that one. Being the Centre for Computing History, we had to get some of our own collection out. So here we have the Amstrad Mega PC. So it's essentially two machines in one. So it's a 386 PC with a Mega Drive built in. They're completely separate inside. Just share a power supply. That's literally it. It's quite bespoke though. This monitor is the only monitor you can use with it because it's wired a bit strangely. Got very, very loud speakers in the side. And yeah, you can play your Mega Drive collection on here. And we found out as well, so don't worry about what I'm about to do. You can pull the cartridges out of this machine and it doesn't care. We actually found out there's a little slot underneath here. And you pull this slot out here, which I might not be able to do. But under here is a connector for a Mega CD. So you can actually attach a Mega CD to it as well. Then there's a volume switch down here as well. If you switch that across like that, and you actually have to pull the joypad out, switch that across like that, it then becomes a PC with its, yes. And then as soon as you click that across, it goes into Mega Drive mode with a little switch, put the cartridge back in, reattach the joypad that I have just pulled out, and there we go. It's even got its own white version of the famous Mega Drive joypad, Mega PC branded version, and for some reason the game hasn't started. Let's try that again. There we go. And it's, yeah, it always worries people when you just literally yank that cartridge out. Did come with a little cartridge for a few games on it. Can't remember what any of them are. I think Hang On's one. And it's just a very nice thing to have. And museums actually got 3 of them. So we can actually have one out for people to play on. We've got a collection one, then one that's not quite so nice, and then this one. Next to us here we have the Master System 2. Now, I don't know what people's opinion of this is. It's very true what they say, though. If you open this up like that, it does look like a toilet roll holder. I'm sorry. It's not the most beautiful machine in the world. Very, very cut down Master System from the original version that you saw around there. So it doesn't have the second cart slot. It's RF only, and picture's not quite as good, shall we just say. Alex Kidd built in. There's also one up here with Sonic the Hedgehog built in. and it's just reasonably, I'm sorry, I'm going to use the word, it's reasonably ugly. So if anyone wants to disagree with me there, tough. So this is our glorious Megatech arcade machine. You can select your game from here. Has varying degrees of games in it. So this is, I believe, the Mega Drive version of Sonic the Hedgehog. But if you pick on some of the other games, so you do game select up here, and then you just keep pressing till you come down to other ones. And then we have Outrun, which I am pretty sure is not the Mega Drive version. If it is, I don't remember it being that poor. And then, yeah, you just start this game. But what you used to do with this is credits bought you time. So you put a coin in, you would get about, I think, something like 5 minutes for like £1 or something. And it didn't care where you were in the game. It just literally cut you off at the end. So it was quite unusual for that. But of course, our boffins here have managed to rig it up so that it is, in fact, on free play now. So I hope you've enjoyed our little look around our display. We're going to be doing more exhibitions and things as the year comes up. So do have a look at our webpage, our What's On page, see if there's anything there you'd like to get involved in. And also send us some suggestions for some exhibitions and things. And we'll see what we can do. In the meantime, it's me, Adrian, at the Centre for Computing History, signing out.
Hey, so this is Andy, the old man that games. One of our volunteers here at the museum, and he's brought some lovely stuff for our weekend event. Andy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a retro gaming and hardware collector. I've been collecting retro gaming paraphernalia for about 25-ish years, I think. I've always been obsessed by retro gaming, particularly as I was brought up in a household where I was not allowed any consoles. And thus, once I got of age that I could afford my own, I went a bit crazy. And now I have around 400 machines in my collection, and I spend my time here helping to educate and show people, or just playing the games and keeping the machines going. It's part of the things that I enjoy as well. So I brought a few bits along for my collection. I thought we'd start off with this pair here. So these machines are both related. On the right hand side is the Japanese Sega Megajet, and on the left hand side here is the Sega Nomad. So the Megajet was actually an in-flight entertainment system initially conceived for Japan Airlines. It was built into the seat, into the armrest. You could pick it up, and then on your long haul flights in the 90s you could then play your favourite Mega Drive games on the screen in front of you. Because it was quite successful like that, and then they had some left over, so it was also then sold on as a kind of portable console to the public, where it was, a lot of people used it in the car, so as long as you had a cigarette lighter and a screen in your car you could play it. Nowadays they're just very, very desirable. It's got an incredibly small form factor. It's a really lovely bit of kit. As you can see, the output's fantastic. It's got a really good screen output. It's got 6-button controller, so your favourite fighting games like Street Fighter will play excellently on this. On the underside you can plug in an extra controller, so you can play 2-player on it, and there's a volume and a headphone jack as well. Power switch is on the side. Not a lot behind it. It's just a very nice ergonomic shape. It's very solid, and it comes in 2 flavours. There's another branding on this, and this is the Japanese Mega Drive branding on this one. The video out is the standard Mega Drive 2 socket, and it takes a standard power as well. As a lot of the later Mega Drive-esque consoles are, they are all based on the Mega Drive 2 output system. And it takes a Japanese cartridge. From this very unusual, unlikely Sega console, we got this. So this was a complete commercial failure, which means there weren't a great deal made. This was only released in the North American market and was actually a direct descendant of the Megajet. Sega wanted to do another handheld after the Game Gear, and as you can see, the way the buttons are and the cursor keys are very similar. So this eventually evolved into this. So This is the Sega Nomad, the Genesis Nomad, because obviously it was a North American branding, so we were Mega Drive, and because of legal issues they were Genesis in America. So it's actually one of my favourites in my collection. It's still got the original screen, so a lot of people like to put in newer screens, which I completely get, but part of my ethos is to try and deliver an accurate, nostalgic view of what we actually had, and we didn't have screens like that. So until this one goes wrong, then I'll keep the screen in. So we'll just turn it on. So we've got a button on the top. It also takes a Mega Drive to power as well. So we're just going to turn it on. This particular one's battery.
It's a nice screen, isn't it?
Yeah, so the screen's not bad for its age. It's quite a bright screen. I think it's a little bit bigger than the Game Gear had to offer. It takes a full-size Mega Drive cartridge. So we've got this lovely kind of all-round controller with the 8-way direction. And then again, we've got the 6-button side so that you can do your fighting games with quite a lot of confidence. It's a very rugged, it's a very heavy unit. Speaker on the side, and then also underneath, you can also attach an additional controller should you want to play with a friend. We've got a brightness control and a volume control on the side. Also, it does have full output capability, so we've got the Mega Drive 2 style output, so you can connect this to a television and use it just like a normal Sega Genesis when you're over at your mates. Low battery indicator, so again, like a lot of the early handhelds, this absolutely chews through batteries. So this particular unit has a small fault with the power supply, which is why I got it cheap. And on the back here, you see the large battery compartment, which holds 6 AA batteries, which I reckon through previous experience might give you about 3 to 4 hours of solid gameplay on it as well.
Okay, yeah.
So it really does chew through these. It's a lovely machine. I was very lucky to pick this up for a very small amount of money when I early started collecting, and I really love it. It's a really nice machine. This is the Sega Genesis, so all you guys in North America across the pond will know this console, whereas over here in Europe it was the Mega Drive. So due to a licensing issue, the name Genesis was chosen for this product. On top of it is the 32X. So during development, it was chosen prior to the Saturn being ready. I believe there was some issues with the time frame available for the Saturn coming out. They decided to build a kind of, I'd say, interim console to enhance the capabilities of the Sega Genesis Mega Drive. So the 32X is a kind of parasitic console, so it basically takes over the game port of the Mega Drive, and then it basically takes over from the actual system. There's a set of cables that pass the video signal between the Mega Drive and the 32X. The 32X gave the system a 32-bit processor, and with this it was able to produce a lot more technologically advanced games for the time. So particularly with things like Star Wars Arcade, which came out for this, full polygons were being used in it as well, and at the moment we're running Doom on it as well, which was available on the 16-bit machines, but the 32X allowed it to be played at a much better speed, and gives you a really nice looking Doom to play. It's a really, again, it didn't have a very good life. It quickly got phased out because of the arrival of the Saturn, and it's always been a bit of a weird kind of unusual step to take. I love it because it's got this subset of games. It's also the only place you can play one of the Sonic games, which is Sonic Chaotix, which is a very rare game which you can get hold of for the 32X. And it wasn't produced in huge quantities, so it's very, very expensive now. I would love a copy. I don't have one because it's about £400 or £500. But it's a great, particularly the Super Star Wars has an amazing arcade feel to it. Again, with the polygons, just look so amazing, and a great soundtrack as well. Also things like Virtua Fighter and Virtua Racing, as we know, the Virtua type games that were predominant on the Saturn with the high level of polygons that we used had a short entry level life on this console as well. And it came out in 2 flavours. This is the Genesis version, and there was also a Japanese and European version as well. The other problem with it is it has its own power supply, so if you had that on top of the Mega CD1, you had to find 3 power sockets just for the console, and there was actually a branded kind of 3 merged in 3 power supply adapter for it. Another thing to mention is that if you did have the Mega CD underneath, there were again a very small catalogue of games that included special 32X Mega CD games, and one of the most well known of this is Night Trap. Night Trap being the game that actually brought in age certification in gaming because of its content. The original Mega CD1 is a 16 colour low res thing. The 32X allowed a much higher resolution. It looks less grainy and a few more colours in conjunction with the Mega CD as well. So again, a very novel, very unusual system. And it was due to be, there was a kind of step where it was going to be released as a console, and I believe it was called the Neptune, which was basically the 32X and the Mega Drive in a one unit, but that made it to a prototype stage, but never got released, because then the Saturn came along, which was the Pluto project, which then eventually became the console to succeed the Mega Drive and the 32X. This is the quite awful, and I'm being really nice here, Genesis 3. This is actually made by Majestico. It was the last kind of semi-official Mega Drive-esque console. Came out very late in the 90s. It's a horrendously cheap version of the Mega Drive. It's really cut down to as little as it could possibly be to function, I think, is the argument thing. So if we have a little look at it, it's very cheap. So a lot of the Sega clones have a horrible pad like this. So it's got this horribly raised, very, what's a good word, knobbly, unresponsive pad that moves on a pivot rather than being nicely nestled into it. It's very plasticky feeling. It doesn't feel like it's been made by Sega, which it hasn't. We have got 6 buttons though, which is great. And then the actual unit itself is absolutely tiny. It's just got a reset and a power. There's not even a power light to tell you that it's on. It's just a sticker to show that the thing's moved. It has nothing on it. It's 2 controller ports at the front, and then at the side we've got the Mega Drive power supply, and then the Mega Drive 2 power supply, and then the Mega Drive 2 AV out. And that is it. It's incredibly cheap. It does the job. It has absolutely no connectivity with the Mega CD or the 32X. So it's a real kind of, how long can we eat the Genesis stroke Mega Drive out for before we really have to put it to bed. Class size it is small, it's nice, it's graphically the same as, it's got a nice little form factor. I mean again, it's not a particularly fantastic machine, but it does what the original system did. It is what it is, really. Only this is the American version. So you can see here from Majestico, game deck assembled in Mexico, control pad made in China. So you can see there it was not quite Sega, but a licensed product. So it's very, very cheap, but does the job. So what we have here is what suspiciously looks like a very white Master System 2, which technically isn't really, but it is kind of. So back in the day, Sega didn't want to manufacture any consoles in the South American market. So they struck up a deal with a South American company called Tectoy, which I believe was located in Brazil. Shoot me down if it isn't, I can't quite remember. And Tectoy made reproductions of the Sega machines under license. So whereas technically they're kind of clones, they're not, because they are licensed. And even though many years after the Master System and the Mega Drive ceased to be commercially, they carried on making consoles, and in fact you can still buy a brand new Master System from them, but it's a very different kettle of fish. It's basically like a 2-chip board where everything's done on the chip itself. So this is what they call their Master System 3. There are many variants of this particular console. Many of them, like this one, come preloaded. There are 74 games held within it. A lot of games are repeated. There's many games that we know, and some are Tectoy's own games, which are so appalling. It's hard to describe the frustration and anger that gets generated at playing one of them. So this one is a little bit different to the others and possibly worth a little bit more, because it does actually have a functioning Master System game slot, where some of them, this lid is just for show and is actually permanently sealed. It's also nice because it has composite out, so we've got sound and video coming out of a composite socket. It puts out, I believe this puts out PAL M, which is the South American standards, so it makes it a little bit difficult, like anything that isn't from here, to put on a telly unless it's a flat screen. It's a really nice little thing. Again, as we saw with the Genesis 3, they have these horrendously cheap, kind of almost Saturn-esque controllers with a very wobbly, almost unfunctional direction pad. If I restart the system, you'll see, hopefully, there you go. So we've got a list of games we can pick. It's in Spanish, so we can actually run through some of these. And there's some awful, I think it's these. These are the Tectoy games, the 1995 Tectoy. They're horrible. It looks like my daughter wrote this. They're very unsophisticated games, I think, is the genuine thing that we can take away from this. I don't think there's any collision detection at all in this. But, so they're just like possibly some college kids got to cut his teeth on making awful games for this. So it's a kind of quirky but nice thing. It will play any Master System cartridges. There is no region lock on it, so you can play whatever you like on it. But it's a very unusual little thing, but great bit of kit, great fun, just something different to put out that's not a run-of-the-mill Master System. Back in about 2019, Sega released mini versions, as the trend is at the moment to release mini versions of retro machines. They released a mini version of the Mega Drive that we all got here. It's a very accurate, tiny version. It's really detailed and comes preloaded with some really great games. So this is the Japanese version. So slightly different game selection in Japanese, obviously. And again, a really great little replica of the actual machine itself. But another little thing that makes this quite special is in Japan they released the rest of it. So here we have the actual Tower of Power. So you can see this from the side, there we go. So we've got the Mega CD1, which clips under the Mini, we've got the 32X, we've got the Sonic and Knuckles dual cartridge, and then a Sonic to plug in the top. So it all comes in this lovely box. We've got the Sonic cartridge, there's the Sonic and Knuckles double cartridge, 32X there, and then the Mega CD1 there. Really detailed, absolutely lovely. Unfortunately, as a lot of people ask, completely unfunctional. It is only for aesthetics. It's just to make it look really cool, and it does look pretty cool. It's a lovely thing, and also the little Easter egg in this makes it really worth having a look at. So if we open this up, we get a lovely poster which shows schematics of the Mega Drive. Open up very carefully.
It's upside down.
Huh?
It's upside down.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here. And also in this very, very lovely official looking wallet. Very nice, feels very nice. And then we open up the wallet and we have this absolutely beautiful brochure. Lovely paper on this. Really looks the part. And inside this we actually have a kind of, well, a technical overview of the Genesis. So in here we have the schematics and drawings for the Genesis. Very, very detailed. Give them a shaky hand. And also the Mega CD. We'll go through some of this. And it goes through all of the iterations of the Mega Drive add-ons. The 32X is in here as well. And also at the back there is this lovely kind of Sega song at the back, which again, my Japanese is non-existent, but it's a really lovely little thing to add to the collection. Just makes it feel something a little bit special. I don't know if it's particularly limited in numbers, but it's a great thing to own. It's a great thing to look at, and it's a lovely piece of Sega history. There were some weird and wonderful little Mega Drive machines that came out that were made either under license or were actual Sega products. So one of these is this here. This is the Wonder Mega. There are two iterations of the Wonder Mega. There is this one made by Victor. So Victor and Sega had a working relationship where there are also some Victor branded Saturn models as well. And there's in the history of Sega, there are a few companies that have made their products with their stamp on it. So things like there's a High Saturn, which was a Hitachi Saturn as well. But this is the Victor Wonder Mega. There is also the more desirable, I'll be honest, the more desirable JVC Wonder Mega, which has a lot of lovely colourful lights and an electronic drawer that opens and closes the lid, which looks amazing. This is the Victor version. So it's quite simply a merging together of the Sega CD and the Mega CD, technically it was also branded Sega CD, and the Sega Mega Drive as well. The unit itself is quite solid, quite chunky. We've got the benefits again of being able to use a standard composite out rather than a Sega branded connector. So we've got again left and right audio and video coming out composite. Now the controller is actually absent. So this originally shipped with an infrared controller. So this part at the front was a big infrared eye that would pick up the controller. Now, like many things in retro collecting, anything that had something that was either detachable or could work without, as we see a lot of machines without keyboards, so particularly the Amiga desktops, you can often find them without the keyboards, which they need. This one, at some point, the controller has gone missing. So when I bought it, it sadly didn't have it, and I've always been on the lookout for one, and I've never seen one come up, so I can only assume that they're incredibly rare, or just everyone lost them at some point. But luckily, it takes standard Mega Drive controllers, plug into the rear of it. It's got two standard ports on the back. we've got Sonic CD here, just showing off its Mega CD capabilities. It's a really solid piece. It's not particularly pretty. It's got a rather harsh and stark look to it. Another thing to note with a lot of Japanese tech around that day is also they've managed to just sneak in on the back here a little bit of a karaoke machine. So just in case you fancied a little bit of a sing-song, we have 2 mic
We'll have to
inputs
get the
here.
mics out later.
Yeah, definitely. I'll just clear this singing voice. And with independent volume controls on the microphones as well. So this would also be able to play a type of karaoke CD from back then. Of course, as well, many of you know or may not know that also the Dreamcast had a karaoke base as well. So you see that kind of floating around on a lot of Japanese products from that era. It's a really great thing. Lovely Victor branding on here. Multi-amusement player it's branded as. Power reset. Instead, I think we've seen on the back we have got a S-video out, and we have got a weird RF out, which I've no idea what kind of connector that is, and then the 2 ports, and we're using a standard Mega Drive 2 power on this at the moment. And we've got a lovely cartridge port there with covers on it as well. And of course, being Japanese, I believe they'll only play the Japanese standard cartridges, but it's a lovely bit of kit.